Hi guys, let's continue here with the MobX, and now I will show you how to deal with asynchronous calls. What is asynchronous calls? You call a function and you do not have any idea when this function will return something. Okay, so if you have already worked with JavaScript, is a kind of promise, and in Java you have the future, and in Dart you have the future keyword that you can create functions that are asynchronous, and one day, anytime, it will return a value. Okay, and so let's go. So let me have an idea here. Maybe let's simulate a call to a repository. A repository can be a call to a network or a call to a data source. Okay. Um, let's call it here on the file. Let's call it repository. Repository counter. Let's say repository name. Let's say repository name. Should treat different things here. Class repository. Um, let's say let's fetch a string from the network. Let's simulate it, or from the network, or from the storage, whatever. So I will return a string, fetch data. However, it is an asynchronous call. Asynchronous call. Asynchronous call, you do not have an idea when the function will return something. So we have to put it as future string, and this is a asynchronous. Okay. Since it is asynchronous, you can do anything here. I will simulate a call to a storage or to a network, whatever, as I said before. So in Flutter, you can use the future dot delayed, and we'll give a duration here in seconds. Let's say 4 seconds. Okay, so we'll block your code during 4 seconds. Okay, I have to put it await. So it will be blocked here until to return. Let's return a string. My name, Thiago. Okay, to return my full name. So let's recap here. It is a repository that will simulate a call to a repository, to a network, or to a data source. So let's say that's storage. And this repository is a asynchronous call, has an asynchronous function called fetch data. Okay, it returns a future of string. Okay, in our controller, we need to fetch this data from the network or from the storage. Let's create here first our observable data. Observable, it is a string name. So since we will monitor this variable, we have to have a observable here, and let's create an action. This action will fetch the data. Function to return nothing. You will see why. And fetch. Let's fetch the data here. It is a synchronous call, and we needed to have a observable future. Observable future is from the MobX, is a type from the MobX. It's also an observable variable here, and this observable future will return a string that we need, and let's call it as sync call to repository. Repository. Okay, repository. Okay, what do we need to do? In our fetch, we needed to call it. We need an observable future. We pass our repository. We have to have an instance of a repository here. Repository. Our repository called fetch data. Okay, and this receives our observable future receives the instance of this call. Okay, it will fetch the data and return to it. So we have to the name needs to receive this result, and you can just call await async call repository. Okay, so the result, the name, this name will be given to name. Okay, however, we must wait until this call to the network or call to the storage. We do not know when it finished. Here we have 4 seconds. We are simulating a very slow call. So when after 4 seconds, it will return the value to it. Okay. And the last, how our screen will show the name, let's say Thiago Bruno Salles. We also need an observer. Okay, let's create an observer here below those values, and I'll be observer. Let's go to observer, and this observer will treat this call. It's interesting because async call repository, this type of variable observable future, has some state control. It controls the state of your connection. Okay, so if nothing is done until now, so controller dot async repository is no. Why it is no? That's because the request to the network or to the storage has not been initiated. You can return a message. Let's say, please press the floating action button. Okay. When the user pushes it and pushes the button, it will begin a transaction, and our async call to repository or our future observable future here will have a status, and if this status is a future status dot pending, observable future has a status property, and this status property returns a future status. Okay, so future status is a kind of enum type. While when does status will be pending? When the request is made and it hasn't returned yet. Okay, so let's return a circular progress indicator. Okay, let's return a circular progress indicator. That's circle. Okay. Else. The user didn't press. The user didn't press the button yet. The user has just pressed it, and we need to show the result. So let's return a text with my name. A text with my name. It's the result. Okay, the result is counter controller dot data or dot name. Okay, dot name. Okay, let's update here. I think there is one thing to do. Okay, I was expected for this 0 to show you guys one thing. Let's see. No observables detected. So no observables or any variables that should be observable was detected. Where at line 110, 110 is this observable, and which variable is not observable? Anyone. No variable. All of them are observable. However, we need to update our generated code. So let's back here. Let's call our build runner again. So it will update our controller because we added the name, we added a sync call, and we added a new action. Okay, so it can be boring to do it every time we change our controller. To avoid it, I will show you now. I will just wait for a while, but I will show how to leave a command running in background that will always be rebuilding your code while you are changing it. Let's wait a little more. Sometimes it's taking more than expected, more than usual. I don't know why. Maybe because I'm recording this screencast, so it has more process. Okay, it's boring to have this command every time, so you can change it by flutter pub run build runner. Instead of build, you can say watch. What does it do? It keeps watching. It keeps watching your code. It keeps watching to changes in your controllers. Okay, so every time I change something here, it will rebuild it, so I do not need to run that command again and again. Okay, let's rebuild our application here. Expected that this arrow is gone. Okay, it's gone. Our outrun is run, has just run. Our outrun that we have seen previously. And I will click here. Please press the float action button. So this component has been built. This component, this observer has been built. However, our async call to repository is no. Okay, so it is printing. Please press the action button, and since we returned here, it will never get here. Okay. Okay, let's press here. When we press this button, we need to call our fetch data. We need to call it. We didn't put this, so let's say that we can increment it, and let's also call fetch. Okay, so when fetch is executed, let's enter here. However, this is the auto-generated code. Okay, when we call fetch, we initialize our repository. Our repository is called the fetch data, and we simulate here a call or a request to the network or whatever anywhere, and return after 4 seconds. We return my name, and fetch data returns it, and it keeps here. Okay, when fetch data is executed, it keeps waiting here. Okay, it calls fetch data and it keeps, and it takes for maybe 3 or 4 seconds here waiting in this statement. Okay, let's go here. Let's press this button. We didn't update the application yet. Okay, it's updating. Let's press. When I press the button here, it will happen that it will execute this statement. So this statement will change the status of a sync call to pending. So it will show a circular progress indicator. It is not null anymore, but it is pending. So it shows a circular progress indicator. Okay, this is running 4 seconds here and returning Thiago Bruno de Salles. Okay, after this call, it is not null, it is not more pending, so it has the data. Okay, however, it can has some error. If you have some error, it will be at the controller dot async repository dot error. This attribute cannot be null. If it is not null, some error has occurred. So we return here an error. An error has occurred. Okay. So if it's not null, it's not pending anymore, it can be an error or data, but if the error attribute here is null, so we have data here. Okay, if it is null, it will return this text and it will not show any data. Okay, we have the result here. We can press here anytime, anytime we wish to do. Okay, that's it. Maybe I think it is nothing to discuss about observable or about MobX. There are many other few points, but I think that as we keep going, developing our application, we will need it. Okay, for example, observable list in order to update some lists. In order to update items inside our lists. Okay, but it can be discussed on next opportunity. Okay, our next videos will be regarding our modular library. Okay, see you guys.